Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to go ahead and review a fragrance from the house of Givenchy. It is called Play by the house of Givenchy. Now the fragrance was released in the year of 2008. I haven't really gotten the chance to review that many Givenchy fragrances, and I've been meaning to review this as well as Play Intense. And so keep a lookout for those reviews that are coming, but today we're going to focus on Play. Now, I don't actually have the bottle. Went off a couple samples and did all my work with the samples, so here is a picture of what you're actually looking at with the bottle. So, as you can see from that, the spokesman for this fragrance was actually Justin Timberlake. Now, in the 2008, obviously he's been a popular artist for a while now, but I do remember specifically seeing articles and magazine ads for this fragrance when it came out, and it suited well. It kind of suited with that, I guess you could say, aura. And as I reviewed the fragrance, I kind of had him in the back of my head as this of what I would kind of picture as being this fragrance. But when I came to it and actually concluded, I kind of figured, what, it doesn't really fit my image of what Timberlake is. Maybe a younger Timberlake, and that kind of makes sense, but that's kind of diverging from the actual point of this review. So the fragrance comes in two main sizes, 1.7 and 3.4. The 1.7 is going to run you about $58, and the 3.4 is going to run you about $77. So a fragrance is a little bit more on the affordable range. If you look around, you can definitely find this for a lot cheaper than that. Those are retail prices. Whenever I give prices now, I give them by just the retail price, and pretty much let it up to the reviewer to go ahead and get something cheaper than that if they can find a deal for it. As always with most designer fragrances, be careful for fakes, as you can probably get one from it. So with that, let's go ahead and get right into the notes for this fragrance. The notes consist of, at our top, we've got bergamot, lemon, and bitter orange. For our mid, we have amyris, pepper, coffee, and tobacco blossom. And for our base, we have vetiver and patchouli. So right off the bat, this smell gives me a very pleasant citrus smell right off the top, and it comes with a little bit of a coffee type of an aura in the fragrance as well too. Now the coffee isn't the same type of a coffee as Pure Coffee, New Harlem, other fragrances that have really prominent coffee notes. This coffee note is a little more subdued. It's a little bit in the background and kind of mixes in well with the patchouli that's actually in this fragrance. And that comes out a little bit as well. The vetiver comes out a little bit more than those two, but you can definitely, again, get the coffee and the patchouli in this scent. Now, where the scent really comes out is the citrus, and that I suspect that they really put those notes in just to give the citrus a longer lasting kind of scent to it. So it comes off as a very pleasant smelling citrus scent that persists for a little bit longer than it would. Now, just because it persists doesn't necessarily mean that it's got strength and punch behind it, which it doesn't really have. It's really more of a lighter fragrance, a fragrance that kind of sits on you and sits in the background. You're definitely not going to jump out and grab people with this fragrance, but it's a fragrance that kind of more lays in the cut. It's a fragrance that is a little bit more subdued, a little bit more back there. Now, again, it's a soft, sweet type of a smell. Citrus being the prominent notes, but it does have a little bit of a little bit of a coffee type of a sweetness into it. Not too much, just a little bit. It also has a little bit of pepper in the fragrance. And by pepper, it gives it a little bit of a spicy little kick to it. Not overly pepperly or overly with spices. It's just got a nice little pepper kick to it. So overall, what you're going to get is a nice lemon smelling scent that has a few notes of coffee, of pepper, and has a little bit of a sweetness to it. Very wearable, very enjoyable, and it's definitely a compliment getter, one that people will compliment you if they can smell it. And that really is the crux of this one, which brings me to the sprays and explains why I spray so much. I personally go between 5 and 8 sprays on this fragrance. For some reason, it just doesn't project well on my skin, and it doesn't do well on that. And so I tend to go a lot heavier on this fragrance as far as the scent goes. I do it, again, because with this fragrance, I generally tend to want people to actually smell me a little bit more just because it really has the vibe for it. But even spraying that much still doesn't really get the desired results to it. So in the end, Givenchy plays a little bit of a weaker type of a fragrance, more so than any other or most fragrances that I come across. Occasion-wise is really another place where Givenchy play does shine, though. Occasion-wise, you can really wear this for any occasion. You can wear this to work, you can wear this on a date, you can wear this, just going out casually. It really has a nice type of a vibe to it, and it suits the fragrance well. It comes across as a bit of a playful fragrance, but not in an overly aggressive, playful way, if you will. That sounds strange, but just run with me here on this one. As far as season goes, I think it's perfect for spring and summer, just sheerly because of the fact that it doesn't really have the staying power to really compete in the colder months in the winter when other smells and heavy scents are coming around and the fragrance has to cut through the cold. It doesn't really have that power to it. Age group, any age group can wear this one, whether you be young, whether you be old. It's perfectly suited for it. It's a playful fragrance, but it doesn't come off as a kiddie type of fragrance too much. So you can go ahead and wear this one pretty much at any age, at any time. The performance is where this one really suffers, as I've mentioned a couple times. The projection on this is below average. Same thing with the sillage, and the longevity on this, it's about 4 or 5 hours on me, and that's after spraying like 7-8 sprays. It just doesn't really last on my skin. So sorry about that, but it's a kick in the pants, but it is a good fragrance as far as the smell wise goes. Now with all fragrances, I take them out to Times Square, have 100 different people smell them. Of 100 people who smelled them, there were 72 people who liked this fragrance. They said that it was sweet, masculine, and they said it was fresh. Sorry, was the third one. There were 20 people who disliked it. They said that it was weak, and they said that it was generic. Those were the two main ones, weak and generic. And there were 8 people who thought it was neutral. So if I'm going to go ahead and give this fragrance a rating, I give this fragrance a rating of a 7 out of 10. Now I know it's a little bit high in terms of the actual rating. Most fragrances that I review that are like this tend to suffer a little bit on the rating end, and I tend to give them a little bit of a worse score. But this still is a very nice, pleasant smelling scent, and I think if you're a minimalist or somebody who doesn't really want to scream and shout, this fragrance may be just perfect for you. Now, the notes on it, it's a versatile fragrance. Wear it anywhere you want, really. Doesn't really matter when. It can double as a signature scent, if you will, for it. It's a very pleasant scent. It gets compliments. Both sexes seem to love this fragrance. It goes off, and that was one thing that I noticed when wearing it. People who were able to smell me complimented me, and that's one thing that stuck out with this one. However, it does suffer from weak and poor performance. This is one that you can really go either way with. Because of the fact that it doesn't really have the power, it may be a little bit actually easier to overspray this. And I know I said earlier it's hard to overspray, but people tend to start going not even more nuts and spraying like 20 sprays on just because they can't really get the performance out of it that they want. So just keep that in mind, keep it in caution. Find out what the happy zone is for you, if you will, for this fragrance, and figure out how much to actually spray on it. And again, it's a good minimalist fragrance. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free, send me a message, leave me a note, do whatever you got to do. Thank you, take care of yourselves, and have a great day.